There's no limit to that. So we want all the people to come down here. And the other side is for the animators. So they should be art school graduates and this and that. But yeah, it's quite accommodative, and there is a career opportunity for all those people in it. A small example in terms of fine artists, as we were discussing earlier, Milind Murik, everybody probably knows him, who is a fabulous watercolor painter. When he was here for our animation day, there is a company in Pune called Oren, which was started by a person called Umesh Shukla. He was in Hollywood as well, he still is. And his company was into writing a software for animation. And they have designed one particular software whereby a watercolor painting moves in such a way that it's the same stroke of a watercolor brush. So then there he made a film. Film is called The Girl Who Cried Flowers. And Milind himself was quite astonished that, what he had to do like several paintings. But those paintings were converted into an animation short film which looks like a moving watercolor painting. So this is a newer look and feel, and be it a charcoal, be it a pencil, be it a crayon, be it a watercolor, those are the things that, since now animation or it has evolved in its own capacity, people want to have a different look and feel, different ideas, different styles of animation, as every artist would have. So every animator is coming up with his or her own style of animation. So there is no end to it. In fact, fine art people are much needed. IT engineers are much needed. And then there are thinkers and visualizers who might come in. But these are the core people for any studio.
It's great to know that this has so much potential, and we should urge this the new generation to also get into these professions, which are lucrative at the same time very interesting. As we saw, the work that you've done is extremely interesting. Coming to role models, who do you idealize in your personal and professional life both?
So there are two Anand in my life. One is my Baba, and the next one who just went home, which is Anand Khandekar. Anand Khandekar has been the one who have guided me throughout the process, right from simple things, as in even in terms of communication to whatnot. And I have been very fortunate to have so many coffee sessions with him for the last 7-8 years. So he's the one that I have really idolized a lot. And he makes me fly and he keeps me grounded. So Baba would never say that, he would always ask. He has only one query and one concern, that, did they like your work? He would say in Marathi, "Tenna kaam avadla ka tuja?" So he would never say that, tu kele, then it would be nice. So it's a nice thing to know. And, but yeah, and he has been an inspiration all throughout. So, and of course, my mother.
Fantastic. So coming to the budding entrepreneurs, what is the advice that you'd like to leave them with?
Oh, that's a tough one because I'm still one. So, but I would say that, it's just an observation, it's not an advice. In the last several years, in terms of animation or special effects, I have seen many people entering this business without any particular domain knowledge. So I would like to, urge that if at all you want to get into this business, the core competence or the domain knowledge of that particular trade is what I feel is mandatory. Whether you have a business acumen or not, whether you're good at marketing or not, it really doesn't matter much, because somewhere down the line you would come to know about your own limitations and you can find people for that. But you cannot find people to do business with their core competence. And if it's not yours, then you are really not an entrepreneur. So I think that is quite a necessity. And more than that, I don't know. Advice factor is something that I'm also still learning every day. Somebody would have better business acumen, so they're not to be told about it. But these are the findings that I have seen in terms of me, or in terms of making my company grow. I have seen many people who really don't know anything about it, and they are just in it for the business or the kind of numbers that they see in papers and on a website of a FICCI or a NASCOM. Passion is alright, but if you don't have patience, then it's a problem.
Fantastic. I think the journey that you've had these 17, 18 years has been extremely interesting. The unfolding of the story along this journey today that we've witnessed was really inspiring. And at this juncture, I'd like to actually move to the audience and request you all to ask your questions now to Chetan. So the floor is now open to questions.
My question is, initially you said that since you were not getting the correct people, qualified people from the industry, you had to train them for 8 to 9 months. So you knew that while since you had that much kind of patience for the cash flow, that you are going to spend money on this, knowing the attrition rate in our industry, you thought still you are going to go ahead with it. It means, how did you see that? How do you take that decision? Means, you thought that you are just going to do it, and were these people going to stay with you, or what happened along those lines?
See, at that time I had no option because I did not actually hire those people. They came to me saying that we want to work with you. Some of them were my friends and some of them were not. But all I could hear was the names of the softwares which was really bugging me out. There would be a new software every day, but if you don't know the basics, then you don't fit in. So there was particularly no option or no choice left with me rather than to trust those people. And see, I can't do everything on my own, so I have to have a good team. But yeah, that was a gamble. It has paid off in some cases, not all. So people have left over the years who were with me for 3-4 big years, and when at that juncture they were started interacting with the clients and this and that. But it's part and parcel now. Even if you try and tie them down, it doesn't work that way. So whoever have gone are meant to be gone individuals.
I was just thinking that with the emerging trend of cloud computing and the ability to rent out high-end hardware, which you may need, and also animation industry work items can be quite fine-grained. So, do you think there's a future for a lot of high-end freelance outsourced work?
It is. There is. Let's say if I'm working on some animation film or a TV commercial whereby I have created something which I don't have a capacity to render out. So there is an easy way that I can rent out a render farm, whether it's in Bangalore or Boston, it doesn't really matter. So people can rather think on those lines. It's not necessary to have something or everything of your own sitting in your own studio. And same goes for the talent as well. As I said, it's a collaborative business. So if you don't have particular skill set, there is no shame in calling out somebody or to hold hand with other studios or one particular individual. And there have been people who have been working with my studio, right from LA to Singapore to New Zealand to Australia. So whenever that we need that particular skill set, they do come on board and work with us. So yeah, of course there is. And which has made work a lot easier and much better.
Anybody do animation from home? Like young kids or housewives or something like that? Can India become a animation hub for the global market, for mobile phones, for tablets, for TV channels? Because millions of stories are told every day by grandfather, father, mother in our country, and we have a lot of panchatantra and millions of stories in multiple languages. How you look at this as an opportunity of a business for going to the household as PowerPoint, for example. Everybody can use PowerPoint across the world. Why not create some kind of a software which create millions of animations continuously day in and day out? Is it possible?
I don't think so. There could be a preset like that because the way I see it, it's a pretty team effort, and there are so many people who are involved with. Let's say there are guys from pre-production who are doing the storyboarding, and there are layout boarding artists, and there are character designers. Then there are background painters, there are matte painters, and there are animators, which are primary and secondary. Unfortunately, it's all woven in, or intertwined with every department. Although people are there who are working from home, but in a very small capacity. So in that manner, at least I don't think it is possible for somebody to